kill the rabbit with my spirit magic helmet. With my spirit magic helmet.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this, I'm going to say it, very special Leap Day edition of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Carr, here along with my co-host and the watership to my down, Mr. Matt O0, a.k.a. the Moz. How are we doing today, Moz?
I have so much to say already. First, was that your Christian Bale Batman opening? Because it was a little camel-throated there.
I don't know what you mean.
Second, I read Watership Down to do that. Not even kidding. I read Watership Down, and you had to Watership to my down me. You have to down this already?
Am I watering it down on you?
You watered it down.
See, I'm making bad jokes right at the front of your
episode.
Watership
to my down. Okay, that's the way you want to start.
Yeah. Well,
hey, you got off the whole, elf to my shelf stuff, so I appreciate that.
It's all about rabbits today, though.
That's right. No, it was a great book, and I enjoyed rereading it.
That one passed me by in my younger years. I read it not all that long ago for the first time, and I was like, man, I wish I had read this, 30 years ago, or like when I was a kid,
It's a bunny coming-of-age story.
It's it's a fantastic book, but we're here to do a different side of rabbits today, I'm quite sure.
Nope, I do have Watership Down stuff coming.
Oh, it's a little trickstery in there, in it, Moss.
Yep.
But let's start with our opening segment of Old Business. I actually found an article that made me mess with our timeline again a little bit. This is kind of an update on an ongoing conversation we've been having involving the UAP and alien probe episodes and the potential of Tesseractian sort of craft.
Oh, awesome.
It really actually harkens back to Side Trail 14, which I realized we never actually released publicly. So I'm going to put that at the end of this. So the Side Trail for this one's going to be a re-release of Side Trail 14.
Over it on Leap Day?
Oh, I hopped right by it. Yes, I did.
Oh.
Hopped right by it.
No puns today.
Okay.
For Rabbit Day.
All right.
I have a couple, but once we get them out of my system.
How do we not do puns on on Leap Day special Rabbit Leapus Day?
No, can't do too many.
But this really goes back. The thing it mostly ties into is that side trail. So I'm going to tease that side trail right now with this paragraph from this article I found on howandwise.com. Link will, of course, be in the show notes. But anyone who's heard us have this conversation yet, you'll know what we're getting into. And Maz, I want to see your face when I read this. You remember all the stuff we talked about with the Tesseract?
Certainly. That was exciting.
Just one paragraph in the middle.
Confusing and mind-boggling, but exciting.
Sure. But this says, a very strange UFO case has been shared by American attorney Daniel Sheehan with Daily Mail. Sheehan, involved in bringing UFO whistleblowers to Congress, claimed that a whistleblower told him a mind-boggling tale about a recovered crashed UFO. He revealed that a crashed UFO recovered by the U.S. military had distorted space-time and was, quote, bigger on the inside, unquote.
It's a TARDIS.
A Tesseract.
Well, it's still a TARDIS.
The TARDIS was a Tesseract, basically.
But
yeah, there you go. So that is confirmation from one of the horse's mouths.
You mentioned that. And now you went with the Tesseract thing. Now they're finding things that are bigger on the inside.
To just give a
how sure are they that the physics is holding up, that we've really found something beyond our comprehension?
Oh, according to these whistleblowers, we have definitely found a lot of things we don't comprehend.
So this is something the military has, and it still isn't admitting, and this is on the whistleblower still end of things.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's still amazing.
They're not going to tell us about that stuff. They're trying to recreate it. They don't want us to know about it until they have it. Once they make it and they can use it, then they might tell us about it.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it anyway. That's the way, the government/military tends to operate with their intelligence and their technologies and whatnot. But essentially, we were talking about the cube inside the sphere, basically, is what a lot of these look like.
Yeah.
The what is it? Ryan
but because
Graves,
it's folding in, right? Because the physics is folding in, you did mention that left open the option for precisely that, right?
Right. That what appears to us to be a 3-dimensional cube is actually a 4-dimensional, maybe even more hypercube that when you slip into it, all of a sudden it's gigantic inside.
Wow.
But we'll get off that subject because we did cover it previously. I just wanted to bring that update, and if you're interested in more of that, go back, check out our UAP and probe episodes, and stick around or check out the side trail following this episode.
The one you leaped over.
The one I leapt over.
Yep.
It's all about tesseracts and how they work. If you're not clear on that, that's the best I can do is in that side trail. I think I got Maz to understand it, so it should work for just about everybody, I think.
Thanks.
You're not the most scientific guy, man.
No, I mean, I can hold my own somewhat, depending on the subject matter.
All right, so let me pass it on over to you. You wanted to start with finishing off your Kushtaka segment and then get into the rabbits? Is that what you're doing?
I did. We have to finish the Kushtaka, and the reason why you ask is because, it was a long episode, Kushtaka. We kind of ran out of time. I panicked. The dog man ate my homework. I forgot to say.
Segment.
I missed a few things.
You leapt over it.
I leapt over it. This is the cleanup. At the end of the year, we were just cleaning up the rest of things we forgot in the last several episodes.
I think that's a very proper use of a leap day special.
Yeah.
Clear everything out. It's like a spring cleaning,
Yep.
Yeah. What a perfect day for it.
But I'm a little annoyed that I forgot some of this stuff, but we're going to get to it now. If you haven't, check out the Kushtaka episode. But basically, it was about the Tlingits of Alaska. They were plagued and haunted by this community of otter people monsters called the Kushtaka, which are also associated with like a Bigfoot-sized creature. And I wanted to make another point about the Thomas Bay rock slide. There was a rock slide, if you remember, in 1750, and there was this it killed 500 villagers. It was either blamed on the Tlingit shaman of the time, who may have pissed off a Kushtaka, or the Kushtakas themselves seeking revenge. It was all this, who done it kind of stuff. One of the things I forgot to mention is that there's an additional tie-in where there's a Tlingit shaman back in the day who actually could create little landslides with his mind. And there's actually, I found that in this account in Roger Olson's Tlingit Shamanism and Sorcery. It's from the very tribe tormented most by these otter creatures, the Tlingit. And he was doing it for like mini landscaping purposes, kind of take out a section to kind of turn over the bushes for different reasons.
Okay.
But you can see why, if they have a Tlingit shaman that could do that, why they would immediately go back to this major event being a shaman or a Kushtaka-related incident.
Oh, yeah, because if he can control the earth like that,
right?
Who else can do that?
Yeah, and that was knocking over a whole mountain, not this little, basically little pruning and agricultural effort of the shaman at the time. But it's a mini version of the same thing we talked about.
Yeah, it's just, just scaling it up is all you're doing.
Or scaling it down because it went down.
Or scaling it down,
slid down the hill and killed everyone.
Escalating it down.
But if you do that agricultural end, that's a not John Deere, by the way. So, yep. But should we make the no pun thing now? It's going to get worse. Yeah, that's why we have to make a rule at some point. But
pun away, my friend. Pun away.
I don't know about that, But it's in the show notes. Check it out. And the other thing is Swanton, Tlingit Myths and Texts, or something I forgot from there. I wanted to mention that he talks about the people of the North Pacific coast as a whole. Shamanism reached its climax among the Tlingit. He's saying that, and this is just one guy who covered some stories for them, whether it's true or not back in the day. You know, this is from the 1800s. But basically, he's saying that they reached a peak, that they were the best at their game. But shamanism kind of degraded in that area. It kind of devolved into sorcery. But if this is true, you know, maybe that Thomas Ray Bay rock slide was the Kushtaka saying, you know, your shaman are too powerful, and they wanted to kill the shaman there. It's just a thought. Knock them down to size.
Right. At a certain point, it's, you know, it's almost like the whole society filters they talk about, where at a certain point, you either get through the filter or you don't. I don't think they got through the filter. They got too powerful for the spirits to want to allow them to continue, maybe, right?
Well, it's like what you talk about. The aliens, now we can bring nukes to their planet. All of a sudden they care. The Kushtakas were all of a sudden like, wow, we got to stop this.
Right.
But who knows?
They start making they get so powerful they can actually start making problems for the higher levels. Then all of a sudden the higher levels don't want you up there anymore.
And a footnote, though, I don't know what the state of Tlingit shamanism is. If we're wrong, if someone knows more and wants to let us know, please do. This is just one comment. I have read elsewhere in theses that Tlingit shamanism has degraded into sorcery, and there isn't a whole lot of shamanism going on up in that area, but I do not know if that is true or not. So,
have they been westernized?
No, I think that's everywhere. Shamanism has lost a lot of, in certain tribes, they've been definitely degraded. That area is supposed to have, quote unquote, lost most of their shamans, and it's, you know, and I don't know if that's true. So I'm just kind of
a sad evolution if it is, you know.
I also found I mentioned angry beavers, and I'm very mad at myself. There's a reason I did that. They're an otter adjacent creature. That was the joke. But it's because I found the original account of the angry beaver, and I forgot to read it. This was the one that really made me upset, by the way.
Oh, boy.
Well, you find the onset of the angry beaver of Cartoon Network fame, and then you fail to mention it. Like, that's kind of a sad day in MLT world, you know. But
so you're going to tell us where the angry beavers came from?
I am. And it actually comes from, again, C.G. Leland's 1884, The Algonquin Legends of New England, or Myths and Folklore of the Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot tribes. And this is how it goes real quick. So they sailed. No, I'm not
into the sun.
Isn't it the sea? They sailed into the sea? I don't know. Yeah. So they sailed. Anyway, you read that part so we don't keep singing. I think it depends
on which part of the song you're in.
So they sailed on over the sunlit sea. Well, you're right in this case. But it was not long before the elf-gifted saw, rising among the waves, far before them a dark mass, which soon proved to be a tremendous beast coming to attack them. And as he drew near, they saw Quabet, Quhbet, the giant beaver, and his eyes were angry. Yeah, I know. But the Muckamuwes, which is basically their trickstery guy, seeing this, steers straight to meet the monster, and coming to him said, I am the great hunter of beavers. Lo, it looks like LOL. LOL, I am their butcher.
I was going to say LOL after you said that.
Yeah, but it's an odd place to have a laugh out loud, but I'm the butcher. I am the great hunter of beavers. Lo, I am their butcher. Many a one has fallen by my hand. Now the beaver had placed himself under water, with his tail out and rising upwards, that he might sink the canoe with a blow thereof, for the beaver strikes mightily in such wise as his wont. But he of the magic power, back to Mi'kmaq, with one blow of his tomahawk cut the tail from the body and sailed onward. One shot, angry beaver.
That's a good shot with the blade.
No cartoon TV show now.
Well, there were such things as giant beavers back in the day, right? Like Ice Age with the mammoths and sloths and stuff. There was...
I think we talked about a couple of them that reached either wolf size or lion size, or the otters, you know.
And imagine a beaver's tail scaled up to that size with the slapping power of that thing. I could see that thing flipping canoes over.
Yeah, if it was like an ankylosaurus version where it had all these like maces attached to it, that'd be even more fun.
I definitely wouldn't want to be in a kayak near one of those things, I tell you what.
Another thing that tips kayak. See why I should never kayak in the subarctic or the
Yeah, I'm kind of learning that. I'm really glad I did that before I knew all this.
All these mythical things that might hurt you.
I don't know if I'm going to want to go kayaking up there again after all your episodes, Boz.
Last thing I forgot, another important one. I forgot Mad Cujos. I wanted to give the author of the 1988 University of British Columbia thesis, The Tlingit Land Otter Complex, Coherence in the Social and Shamanic Order. R.A. Barazal, this Mad Cujos is for you.
on down, boy!
Congratulations, Mr. Barazal.
Yep, in the show notes, mentioned it last time, but wanted to shout it out because I mentioned it a few times, and it was if you get a chance, very informative read. So there you go, and that's it. So we can kind of hope we can shift rabbit word now.
Hop on down the road to our next topic here.
There you go.
I like that I'm sitting on your couch for this one because I keep actually literally bouncing up and down like a rabbit every time I make a rabbit joke.
Yeah. This is where he comes up with the elf on the shelf comments when he's bouncing on my couch.
I couldn't do this in my normal chair, you know?
I was going to start, though, with this Algonquin myth about how the rabbit got its split lip, but that would just be splitting hairs.
Oh.
See, this is what this is an example of what we're not going to do today. You can look at my notes. I could show you.
You know what I should have said?
We're getting it out of our system right now.
I should have said the Fozzie to my Statler and Waldorf because I'm just going to keep heckling you from the balcony every time you make these jokes today.
We're not. They're over. I mean, there's a couple more, but they
It's
just,
never over.
It's never. It's like Zool. No end to this arc, only Zool. Yeah, same idea.
There is no end. There is only puns.
Yep. The story begins, though, with the legend of the Grail and a killer flying rabbit that lived in a cave strewn with bones of its victims somewhere in Scotland.
Did it have big, pointy teeth?
Yes. No, we're not going to do that one today.
Some call me
Tim. No, we're not going to do that. But we are going to start with a Watership Down quote, not yours. The gifts of LRR, trickery, great danger, and blessings for the Warren. So today, Jeremy, blessings for the Warren.
Totally.
Yep. May it be voodoo free. You know, so we'll go from there.
You got to bless the Warrens before they go investigating, too.
We're going to bless the Warrens.
The Amityvilles and all that.
Exactly. Way to go. But per wiki, I'm not going to do the giant rabbits. We're just going to skip that. We do have a Flemish giant rabbit. It's the biggest domesticated one. It's an Erectologus canaculus domesticus, a Flemish giant, historically a utility breed used for their fur and meat. Darius is the current Guinness World Record holder at 49 pounds and over reaching 4 feet in
That's
length.
A big rabbit. I've seen pictures of those.
You've seen
They're
it,
huge.
but you've probably seen him because I think there's a woman holding it up.
Yeah, exactly. A woman holding up the rabbit that's like almost as big as her, basically.
And back to the fossil record, though, I found this on NPR. It's called, the big one's called Neuralagus rex, king of the rabbits. These animals migrated from Europe, but 3 million to 5 million years ago. They faced no competition from predators, had lots of food, and so over time they grew to weighing over 26 pounds. 6 times bigger than the ordinary rabbit, or 3 times bigger than Darius. And but we're going to start, though, with we're going to do some rabbit mythos, then we're going to get to the monsters, and then we're going to get to some theory. It's going to be good. Stick around. It's going to be fun.
Tell us the story, Maz.
Yes. So the mythos swings heavily trickster right away. No surprise there. You already mentioned it.
Well, the rabbit's as much a trickster as the coyote in its way, right?
Yep. And but we'll start with the trickster stuff. We will move monster word, though, so don't fret. But this from Pratt's Encyclopedia of Shamanism. I found that the Dagara tradition of Western Africa, the hyena is a negative trickster, but spider and rabbit are the chaotic positive, or at least chaotic neutral tricksters out there. Usually they're positive tricksters. That's what we find with the rabbit. There's Jiibayaabooz, Jiibayaabooz, Ojibwa, also known as Chipapoose or Jiibayaaboozo, meaning spirit rabbit or ghost rabbit, from Abenaki mythology. The Madaguas, there's also some others in the area, the Chipapoose and the Jiibayaaboozo. But basically, so there's spirit rabbits and ghost rabbits kind of wandering around out in the old mythologies of Native America. Many Wabanaki folk tales depict hero tricksters like raccoon, rabbit, otter, and lox. A salmon trickster, great on bagels, by the way. But back to C.G. Leland's, the Algonquin legends, he mentions lox, how Lox and Loki have that commonality we talked about a little bit. But there's a whole master rabbit one in his section, too. There's this epic chase between the rabbit and the cat. It's a little Sylvester and Bugs kind of action going on. And basically, I'm just going to kind of go over it real quick, though. So that he feeds the cat all these endless illusions because he's already a shaman, the rabbit. So time and time again, he's just changing guise and kind of faking this thing out. And basically we're seeing the first look at something that isn't a man rabbit like Nanabozho, but actually a rabbit in mythology.
Just a full-on rabbit.
Full-on rabbit of old legend.
But you said it's more of a friendly, positive trickster.
In the Wabanaki, a lot of Native Americans and the great Hare, and Nanabozho is known as the great Hare as well, but he has, again, that otter component, the otter yek. So he's a rabbit man with a yek of an otter. We talked about that last time from the Mid-Wiwand Society. So it had a lot to do with healing. Yeah. But there's a trickster component, and he's supposed to be the guy who came up with hieroglyphs and a lot of invented fishing and usually trickstery stuff. But there's a shape-shifting component you might not know about him.
So he literally taught the world to fish?
Well, that's an old trickster. A lot of them raven, same thing. There's a lot of old.
That's cool.
It's almost Promethean, where there's always message. They always teach the people how to, hunt, how to fish.
Teach them how to stay
trick.
Alive.
They're the tricksters can catch things as well. So if you ever get a chance to read Lewis Hyde's Trickster Makes the World, great book.
So the tricksters teach us the tricks we need to trick our food into the trap.
Right. They're trap. They can create the trap and they can bring it out kind of a whole new door. So they're the ones. Okay. They're the Tesseract of the rabbit.
Did they fold in on themselves?
Community. They fold in on themselves. Rabbits are much bigger on the inside. Like Darius is monstrous on the inside.
I believe that.
Yeah. But basically, Nanabozho is, the proto-shaman we found in that other episode that was, one of the first.
Yeah, that was the Arctic part 2 of our Christmas special. In the Arctic shapeshifters there, you found the original guy pretty much.
Yep, and there's another rabbit tail that actually I found that involves the Kiwa. Remember we talked about that? It was this giant cannibal monster that this person met. Well, basically it's another master rabbit tail, but the chief squaw is now trying to get away from this Kiwa, this cannibal monster. So he helps her escape, basically. And we were trying to figure out in the side trail if that was a Bigfoot, a giant, or a Wendigo, if you recall. It's basically a squaw in the Sasquatch story.
Right, yeah.
But the rabbit creates all these false trails to delay the monster, and then they escape. Then they kind of pole vault over a mountaintop to get away from it. But when the Kiwa then on the next mountain finds the pole and goes or tries to follow them up the pole, they tip the pole when the Kiwa's at the top and kill it. So basically they beat the Sasquatch at the end.
Right.
So, yeah. So, fun fact, though. I forgot, we jumped over this. This is how this happens. Nanabozho, there's one telltale when he is a man, and the first Metawiwin medicine man, and started this whole society of healing. But as a shapeshifter, there's one telltale for Nanabozho that he actually, you can tell he is still, like every creature that's a shapeshifter has one tell.
Oh yeah, the one dysmorphic sort of thing.
Right. What do you think Nanabozho's is?
I thought I knew this, but I can't bring it to my brain.
I don't think I mentioned it. His ears never change, so he still has rabbit ears even as a human. Yep.
So he changes to a person, and he's still got the rabbit ears. What good does that do him?
Well, back then he was just the great Hare, and he was, and everybody knew him as. But you're right. It's not. I guess he could wear a hat. He could wear a very large hat.
Top hat. Stick the ears up under a top hat or something.
Maybe that's how the bunny came out. Maybe that's the first magical trick. Originated from Nanabozho wearing a big top hat.
Oh, that's where pulling a rabbit out of the hat came from. Because you take the hat off and all of a sudden he was a rabbit. That actually makes a lot of sense.
See, we're solving so many mysteries.
How do we do this? Like we stumble into these. Oh my God, we just found the root of something.
Yeah. It's not Batman level, but it's still pretty.
That's
cool.
so true. I bet he wore a top hat, and when he took it off, he just turned into the rabbit, and everybody go, "Whoa, how do you do that?" It's the original magician pulling a rabbit out of his hat.
Exactly. But do you think it's a coincidence we finished up all this otter discussion today before we come up with an otter man who's part otter, part rabbit? Do you think I did that on purpose?
No, because I came up really late with the concept of this Leap Day special.
Yeah, this was totally disorganization. And
it's amazing how well you found something to tie in that makes sense with it.
It's sad, really, but it happened.
The Leap Us on Leap Day special ties right into the arc you've been on. That's
exactly.
Great.
Oh, we have one from Japan, Rabbit Hero Mythos. This is from Wikiwand. The Hare of Inaba legend emphasizes the benevolence of Onamuchi, who was later enshrined at the Izumu Taiyasha, Japanese scholars have traditionally interpreted the struggles between the kind Onamuchi and his wrathful 80 brothers as a symbolic representation of civilization and barbarism in the emergent Japanese state.
80 brothers.
That's right. Well, we're going to get to.
I guess they are rabbits, huh?
We're going to get to 500 brothers when we get to the
Wow.
tequila gods. Stay tuned. We're almost there.
Oh, their poor mother.
Yeah.
Their poor mother.
No, this is good. I'm gonna make you read this, and you're gonna hate that part, but it's
Boy.
really worth it otherwise.
Oh, that one with all those unpronounceable words
yeah, I
in it?
send it to you already. Yeah.
I practiced. I will do my best.
Yep. But in northern Arizona, in northern Russia, same thing. In northern Russia, we have the fertility goddess mythos connected to the rabbit, Kaltes-Ekwa. In Ugrian mythology, Kaltes-Ekwa was the mother of the hero, Mirsusnahum, and the wife of the god Numtorum, who defeated her in heaven. She was also a goddess of the moon, associated with the month April, and a birth-giving goddess. That from Wikiwand again. But Jeremy, we're going to get to the one that, this one's going to blow your mind just a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to have you read it. It's my favorite from acearchive.org, and it's about bunny tequila gods.
Tequila gods?
I give you bunny tequila gods.
Is that why you gave me tequila before we started?
Well, I kind of always do, but again, just synchronicities.
I said no to tequila once, and then you were like, "You sure tequila?"
Because you made a
and I was like, "Okay."
You
tequila.
said stay 3 fingers away from the microphone, so
Right.
I offered you a reposado. That's
It
how
made
that happened.
It made a lot of sense at the time. It really did, and somehow that talked me into drinking a tequila before we recorded.
Oh, really twisted your arm on that one.
It doesn't take too much twisting. In the vibrant and colorful mythology of the Mexica people, there exists a group of divine rabbits known as the Tzotzil. These playful creatures are said to number in the hundreds and are known to gather for raucous, wild parties that last long into the night. With names like Tepoztecatl, Texcatzonatl, Colhuatzincatl, Macuiltochtli, and Omectochtli. They are a lively and diverse group, each with their unique personalities and quirks. It is said that the Tzotzil are the offspring of Passamaquoddy and Macuiltochtli, and they may be the brothers of the god Ixtlacan. With such divine lineage, it is no wonder that these rabbits are a force to be reckoned with in the mythological world. They are known for their love of drinking, dancing, and revelry, and their parties are said to be the stuff of legend.
Give you a quick break.
That sounds like me in college.
Oh, this is going to be this is going to get really crazy. But Ixtlacan, Ixtlilton, just by the way, Ixt means shaman in Nahuatl, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we're come across. Actually, Ixt is also, I think, shaman in Tlingit, and I got to verify that because I'm just thinking out loud.
We talked about something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up. But Ixt has this shamanic component. Nahuatl is Aztec, but it also Nahual, which is, shape-shifting shaman folks.
Right.
So it all kind of comes back. But that was your break. Now you got to go back to terrible words again. And
I think the hardest part's over. Let's go on. One can imagine the Tzotzil gathered together under the light of the moon, the air thick with the scent of alcohol and the sound of music filling the night. These divine rabbits, with their quick and nimble movements, would be the life of the party, their laughter and antics drawing in all those around them. But while the Tzotzil are undoubtedly a fun-loving group, they are not to be underestimated. In Mexican mythology, they are also associated with the pulque, a fermented drink made from the agave plant. As the children of Petacatl, the god of pulque, it is said that the Tzotzil hold a great deal of power over this intoxicating beverage. They are said to be able to control its effects on mortals, either bringing joy and revelry or causing chaos and madness.
Put that in your next police report. It was not me, officer. It was these Aztecian rabbits that made me do that night.
It was the rabbits.
Exactly.
Dude, that's crazy. They really are tequila gods.
Yeah, there's 400 or 500 tequila gods birthed from this shaman creature. And
anyone who knows me knows that that's like all I drink as far as alcohol goes. I'll have an occasional beer, but it's pretty much all tequila. That's very interesting to know, Maz.
plucking one of those names out of there, Macuiltochtli, whatever the heck you said, because you did it better than me.
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do a toast. Macuiltochtli pronounced. Oh, it even says how it's pronounced. We should use those. Macuiltochtli. It doesn't help me. It's not helping. Means 5 rabbits from classical Nahuatl. Macuilio, 5, and Toctli rabbit is one of the 5 deities from Aztec and other Central Mexican pre-Columbian mythological traditions, who known collectively as the Ahuateteo, that's that whole group, symbolize excess, overindulgence, and the attendant punishment and consequences thereof. Not only one of that again from that was from Wikipedia. The first thing that you read was from acearchive.org. Sense on.
Links in the show notes.
Links in the show notes. So he's one of these 400 rabbits that we talked about. Now I've heard 400 or 500 depending on the Aztec myth, because I read a few of these. Depending on what Census Bureau arrived that day on the scene. They breed like, I'm sure it changes.
Like rabbits, yeah.
It changes constantly. But basically birthed all of them. This fermented agave is what they were, basically the milk they suckled on from this goddess.
I wonder why they're so much fun.
Yeah. No, it sounds like a great idea and a terrible idea. Like all wrapped into one.
It's a great idea.
Aztecs have a pack of rabbits collectively represent a similar place to Dionysus in the Greek pantheon, basically.
Sounds very Dionysian, yes. The dancing and the partying and the fire and the food and the fornications and everything that go along with it. That's very Dionysian.
Yeah. And it's better in a way because they're the tequila gods.
But it's rabbits, which just makes it even more fun.
Tequila gods.
And tequila's instead of wine. That's a whole different level, man. That's a different kind of party.
Yeah. Here comes Peter Cottonmouth. But do you want to bring your party up a notch? Just invite 500 Dionysian-type rabbit demigods. I would. Bring them to Bone Manor the next barbecue. No matter what happens, I don't think Bone would be that mad at us.
No, he would love that.
I still can't find my children or my dog, but that was a great party, guys. That's not far off from what would happen.
Oh, boy.
He'll just think of it as a shamanic initiation. If they make it back,
they'll be okay.
They'll be men.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They're boneses. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd worry about those tequila rabbits. Here's a mini monster roll call. We're going to shift from myth. I'd want to get a little flavor of the myth in there. I always like to. Rabbit monsters were actually a little lean. I only had a few weeks to do this, and there aren't a ton of them. Most of them are more chimeric or only part rabbit today. It's not full blown. Did you ever see the movie Night of the Lepus, though?
Dude, we already figured out where pulling a rabbit out of the hat came from. So
yeah, we already accomplished.
This episode is already a success in my mind.
We can stop now. But no, I want folks to stick around because we are actually going to break down. But I was going to do Bugs Bunny later as trickster.
Oh, yeah.
I have a special treat at the end, kind of like in the Maurice Sendak-y kind of line. Well, I don't want to say that. The Maurice Sendak one was
you've
pretty
done
amazing.
Where the Wild Things Are. You did the Witches of Oz.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was there another? I feel like there was
Bass Rankin. We did the whole Christmas Carol stuff.
There you go. Yeah, the Christmas
You blocked
one.
that out of your mind. And I don't blame you.
It's that tooth elf, dude.
Yeah, it's scary.
Freaks me
out. You should do one. You do true crime. Just bring.
I do have our first true crime one coming up a little bit down the road. I wanted to make sure I at least got one in the first season. We're not going to be big on true crime, but it's a monstrous. It's another kind of monstrousness, so we're going to have to cover it. But I'm hoping to make our first one kind of a whodunit on an old cold case kind of place.
Nice. And are there rabbits involved?
No.
Then what are you doing?
I have no idea. What were we talking about?
We're talking about the dentist. The elf who wanted to be a dentist.
See, I do block it out of my mind. I had already stopped thinking about it because every time it comes to my brain goes, and turns around and thinks about something else.
Well, let's start off the monstrous side of rabbits from the crypto great Brad Steiger. There is one curious and recurring detail in all these early werewolf tales. Nowadays, we would immediately classify these as shapeshifters. These werewolves were not only men turned into wolves, they also could change themselves into cats or rabbits, thus having a perfect camouflage when stalking a victim.
Wow.
This is the werewolf in sheep's clothing, basically.
Well, this is the shaman with his yek overlapping with the werewolf myth.
Yeah, I mean, or you just put it on. Yeah, because if you're wearing the garb, you have to have multiple yeks. Very good point.
Right. If for a shaman turned into all those things, they would need one of each as their yeks, right?
I believe so.
Pretty much.
I mean, my understanding of it.
Or if they're a skin
walker,
they would need the pelt of each to wear.
Right.
Something along those lines, though.
Yeah. I was just happy to find something that tied in werewolves and rabbits, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, a rabbit could be a helpful animal to turn into. It's very innocuous, but it's fast. If they start coming after you, you can usually get away.
But most of us want to talk more about werewolves, I guess.
Werewolves are way more cool, though. Yeah.
But let's start with let's start proper with the jackalope, another horned rabbits, because there was a time when horned rabbits made both mythos and real bestiaries at the time. They made medical journals and stuff as well. This from Wikiwand. Horned hares were described in medieval and early Renaissance texts both as real creatures and as farcical and mythological ones, such as Rabelais in his Gargantua and Pantagruel. The first mention of the Lepus cornutus, Cornutus, as described as a real animal, comes from Conrad Gessner in his Historia Animalium, mentioning that they live in Saxony. And in 1789, Tableau Encyclopedia Methodique was apparently the last major scientific work to include the Lepus cornutus as a real animal. By the late 18th and early 19th century, the idea of the horned hare as a real species was mostly rejected, although the 1817 Nouveau Dictionnaire d'Histoire Naturale considers it possibly a real creature. That's from Wikiwand.
Well, I mean, it could just be another sample of, another example of a creature that used to exist that died out.
I think they solved the jackalope. We're going to get to it in Sir Richard Scully-Muggleland.
Okay.
I think we have this myth busted. But you tell me, because you're a big jackalope fan. Oh, I got a question for you. I might have asked you this already. Where is the only jackalope exists in Flagstaff?
Oh, it's over the bar at Flag Brew.
Yeah. Did I ask you that already?
I believe we did that already.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, but that's the only jackalope I know of, and it's in a.
I know we've had so many conversations on and off mic. I forget what went where sometimes.
That's always where we're at. Similar beasties, though, horned ones. There's the Almiraj or Almiraj, which is Arabic. It's a mythical creature resembling a one-horned hare or rabbit, mentioned in medieval Arabic literature.
One-horned, like a unicorn?
Yes.
Huh.
The name appears in a version of the Legend of Iskandar, which was with Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty, I believe. Terrible movie.
That's Ishtar.
Oh, okay.
Not that anybody would want to watch it.
No, that's not in the show notes. But they are defeating the dragon of Dragon Island in the Indian Ocean. They obtain the animal as a gift from the inhabitants. The creature is also said to cause all animals that set sight on it to flee. So it's a frightening one-horned rabbit, which sounds like the rabbit from Scotland
and they're
that
saying
pythons ran into.
But they're saying they're in the Indian Ocean on the Dragon Island. Is that something with the Komodo dragons? Did these things exist along with the Komodo, and that horn was a defense mechanism?
Well, I mean, Indian Ocean, let's see.
I mean, I guess not technically Indian Ocean.
They're not that. I mean, how many thousand? We're still a long way away from Komodo Island there.
Yeah.
I would say we're still a long way away from that.
Okay.
But the creature also appears at nameless, is given other variant names, or situated elsewhere depending on the text or manuscript source. That from good old-fashioned Wikipedia. I have the Sigpin for you to read. This is your second reading, and it's not as painful as the first.
The Sigbean is a demonic creature from Philippine Visayan folklore. It is said to be a companion animal to the Aswang vampire. Although descriptions of this demon vary because it has the ability to shapeshift, of course, it is usually said to be a dog-like creature with long black legs, similar to a rabbit or kangaroo, as having the body of a crow, but with grasshopper legs, or as a gigantic bat with sharp teeth and long floppy ears. That's crazy. A nocturnal demon, the Sigbean bites the shadow of its victim, usually children, in the neck area to mystically drink their blood. Should a victim survive their attack, he must be treated with a special herbal rub. Siegbean also eat charcoal. These demons cause illness and can kill with their bite or by the smell of their flatulence. Gross. If it has large ears, it can clap them together like gigantic hands. Should its Aswang master have a child, the Siegbean will have an offspring itself for the Aswang child. Having the power to become invisible, the Siegbean is most visible during the last phases of the moon. However, applying the tears of a dog to your eyes will let you see a Siegbean for what it is. Although a Siegbean cannot be drowned, once it has been slain, it must be burned down to the very last hair, or its Aswang witch will be able to call it back to life.
See, a lot of these themes.
Wow, I have so many questions and connections from that.
But one of the themes that keeps coming up is if you don't destroy it completely, it comes back. You know, we found that with the Kushtaka. We found that with a lot of creatures that we cover. But this seems very psychic vampire-y to me.
This almost sounds like Alma Fielding's vampire, in a way.
Like
right in the shadow
form,
and stuff.
Yeah, kind of a Toltec-y created thing. But the Philippines are kind of a crazy, scary place, and we will definitely be going there soon enough. So I have a couple of episodes in store from that area. Yeah, it's probably one of the creepiest little areas on the planet, potentially. So we're going to spend a little time in the darkest part of that island. Hopefully.
Sweet.
But that was from Teresa Bain's Bestiary, by the way. So is the next one. The Walpertinger.
Walpertinger.
The Walpertinger.
The Walpertinger.
Well, I thought you were going to go with, what does it sound like?
Walpertinger.
It sounds like another bold rock dasher thing that you hit me with that.
The slide rock
bolter.
The
I think of Boulder Dash. See the Freudian slip in there?
The whoopee dinger.
It does sound like a fearsome critter. It is not. It's, again, from Bavarian folklore. This, again, from Teresa Bain's Bestiary. The Walpertinger is described as having bird feet, boar tusks, a coxcomb in the forehead, deer antlers, hawk wings, rabbit ears, rabbit hindquarters, and a rabbit, squirrel, or weasel-like body. So it's mostly rabbit.
It's got a lot of rabbit in it.
Yeah. It is believed, as close as I get today, guys. It is believed the saliva of this creature stimulates hair growth to cure impotence. Nectar is sipped through one of its shank bones, and then the person is to urinate across the current of a stream.
That's weird.
Don't cross the stream.
No wonder why they're extinct now, though. I'm sure we hunted them if they make your manness work better. I was going to say that in a much less friendly way for a second.
We hunted them before Cialis and Viagra. We hunted the Walpertinger to extinction. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like now that I hear that, we've almost killed the rhino because the torn does the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like
good times.
I honestly think not all, but some of these creatures we talk about in the paranormal realms, I really think some of them were real and they just have gone extinct because they were ice age
variations
kind of creatures
of them.
Or whatever. You
know?
Oh
yeah, yeah. I mean, the Mapungwari, the giant sloth piece is compelling.
Right.
There's a lot of them that did it. If it's something that's 10 or 11,000 years old, did some of them survive? That's not that long ago. Geographically and
not at all. Evolutionarily and geologically and all that. Yeah, it's not really long ago at all.
Here is a cool one. A French hobgoblin uses the rabbit as his favorite. Wait, what?
A French hobgoblin? I just went. No.
I mean, I do that for. I did that for when you did the Lagrange point. I went. That's why I did that, because I'm
just doing the French thing.
Oh, yeah, that's different. No, ZZ Top is.
So my inflection was off.
You gotta go. Yeah, and ZZ Top is down here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Maybe you got the time. But the thing is, you also have the ZZ Top beard, so you can't do the French thing until you shave.
I could totally, at least visibly, by appearance, be in a ZZ Top cover band at this point. I think,
yeah. So I don't think
just
you
need
can do
the
the
sunglasses
French thing.
and the hat.
Yeah, but that means the French thing is going to be tough for you, but that's okay.
So.
Yep. So you have this reading, and this from...
I'm lost. Oh, I'm reading?
Yep. This is from Rosemary Ellen Guiley's Encyclopedia of Demons and Demonology. I found a rabbit in a grimoire, which is pretty exciting.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is French, by the way.
I was just killing hobgoblins at Bones' house last night.
It's French for grimoire.
I'm
Dungeons and Dragons line.
Yeah, I'm a super nerd. Not that anyone didn't know that already.
Yeah.
The lutin. French name for a hobgoblin common in French folklore and fairy tales. The lutin is either male or female. A female is called a lutine. The lutin is comparable to house spirits such as brownies and to elves, fairies, gnomes, imps, leprechauns, pixies, and sprites.
Buggerers, thuggerers, thieves, bandits.
And Methodists.
Oh,
excuse me.
Headley.
Harumph. The lutin has a trickster nature. It can choose to be invisible. In some tales, it becomes invisible by donning a red cap with 2 feathers. French immigrants to Quebec, Canada, spread lutin lore there. The lutins are fond of taking animal forms, especially pets, and common animals such as rabbits. And also especially white animals. Ooh, white rabbits.
Rabbit, there you go.
The white rabbit. Lutins can control the weather and be either good or bad. Good lutins will perform personal services, while bad lutins will cause domestic upsets, misplace objects, and make messes. Salt spilled on the ground or floor will prevent lutins from crossing it. Oh, salt. Are they like some kind of demon? Because isn't that what you use
from
for
a demonology
demons?
book?
Circles?
I don't know what the heck else it would be.
Interesting. Rabbit demons.
Rabbit demons that like to take rabbit form.
I guess they're calling them hobgoblins, but that's kind of demon adjacent, I guess.
But we also find, with the salt throwing, we find this thing that has to stop and count things everywhere. The rice or the salt or this, they have to stop and count the grains.
Super OCD.
It's a super OCD kind of thing. So, like if it's on its paxil, maybe it's not going to stop. It's just going to eat you. Like if it took its meds, it's just going to eat you.
So don't give your hobgoblins Adderall.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
No, Adderall is for ADHD. Paxil or Prozac would probably be better for OCD. Just saying. But there's also another reason why Big Pharma is evil, because they're going to give medication to psychic vampires who are then going to not
Prozac
stop.
to our hobgoblins.
Well, they're not going to stop to count the rice, and then they're going to eat you. Because normally, if you drop like 790 pieces of rice in front of many vampires across global mythos, they have to stop and count that. I came across this a lot. So they stop and they count it, and you get away.
That's a weird trick.
If they're on their Paxil, they're not going to stop. And you're going to get it. That's all I'm saying with that whole thing. You brought it up. I didn't. But anyway.
We're medicating vampires now on Monster Lore
It's
Tour.
not my idea. It's Big Pharma's going to make money any way they can. But
I found a new piece to put into my Bat Squatch episode today too, so thank you for that.
Oh, are you going to say more than that?
No, there's a Bat Squatch episode coming up in the not too distant future.
Nice.
That I'm, doing my last tweaks on.
No, you got to do it this way. In the not too distant future, la la la.
I am an ape man. No.
MLT. I mean MST. We're MLT.
Who are we again, Moss? What show is this? Where are we?
This is not my beautiful podcast. Letting the days go by.
This is not my beautiful mic.
Well, best defense, by the way. We're switching to best defense. Don't let rabbits fool you. Here's a theory for you. The reason we don't have many monster rabbits is no one who sees them lives to tell the tale.
Oh, that's a good reason.
That's what happened to one of the occupying armies in Watership Down, and we're going to find out about that in a minute. So for me, the best defense against killer bunnies would be Chuck Norris. If you just always have him around whenever you're out and about in the wilds, rabbits will just hop away, be very docile creatures.
I mean, isn't he the best defense against anything, though?
I was going to say
Except
that.
maybe Chuck Norris.
If you had, Mecha Chuck Norris.
Mecha Chuck, yeah.
No, I was going to say that. I was going to say, I wanted to introduce this as a new best defense, is who would you bring to fight the creature? like as part of the best defense. Because we did like the Kushtaka, and you're like, well, you can have dog urine, or you could have Chuck Norris. And I'm thinking, I want dog urine and Chuck Norris.
Right.
So, but then you're right. Like it'd be episode 782, the Wolf Tingler, whole episode in the Wolf Tingler. Well, I'd bring Chuck Norris. It's gonna get stale.
The ultimate defense.
Well, it's gonna get stale. But I think we should. You can only use a person once, and then we can move past Chuck
We've
Norris.
just used Chuck Norris. You just used our Chuck Norris on
I used
rabbits,
him-
Maz. Our one Chuck Norris. You used it on rabbits. Really?
Oh, now that I know what we're playing, that was
We're
going to
do like zombies and stuff in the future, like rabbits. I want to hang out with these guys and drink their tequila. Like I'm not scared of these guys.
All right. Okay. I messed up, but you know what are you going to do?
Well, too late now.
Yep. Hey, I
Because
do.
it's not like I'm editing this later or anything.
Well, let's switch
Anywho.
gears to Kathleen Bragdon. I found this thesis, the shamanistic text in southern New England, and I found a petroglyph that I'd like to show you. I'm gonna
In
take
southern New England?
Yes, and I
My
wanted to
old
just
home-
show you because it had a
home
rabbit in
ground.
it. We're going to be doing the Bridgewater Triangle coming up, truth be told. So this is the petroglyph, and it's from Ceylon, Maine, and Kathleen Bragdon. And what do you see in the middle? There's an image right in the middle of the picture. It's the biggest one in the middle.
Yeah, it looks like. Honestly, the image I'm getting out of that is the one animal that looks alive in that picture is the rabbit standing in the mouth of the cave, overlooking all the dead bodies of all the other animals. Is what that looks like.
I think we found the last words of Ulfin Bedware of Rigget, carved into the living rock. Why? What did you? That's not a cave entrance. Look at the
you see
bones.
the
Look at the
line, though?
bones. Yeah, it's a snake. It's a rabbit standing on a snake.
Oh, it's standing on a snake.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was standing on like a cliff or something.
We almost solved the python like mystery though. We were so close.
Is that right? That looks like the rabbit's
Now that you
overlooking a
say
bunch
that.
of dead animals. Is what it looks like to me.
Well, I mean, the cave's this way. Look, I'm gonna have to hold. While you guys are not there, I'm gonna hold what the. This is the actual. This is,
Oh, I was looking. Oh, it was sideways the whole time.
we just killed all the animals because it's sideways. No,
Hey,
it's
turn that sideways and let me look at it again. Just stand your computer up. I'm sorry, everybody. This is silly.
this podcast is getting far too silly.
Far too silly. Oh, so now it's. Oh yeah, I see it. It's holding the snake,
I think.
but all the animals are running around and everything.
Yeah,
I see it. Okay.
but basically the way I see it, and I'd love to tie back in.
So the rabbit's holding the serpent while the herd runs by. What does that mean?
I just think it's a rabbit standing on a snake, making the snake its yek. Like
Yeah,
we've got that's the image that I get.
If it could yak an otter, it can yak a snake, right?
What the yek? Just don't tell Bone because it's
I
going to
mean, it
upset
sounds
him.
like a joke when I say these words, but that was a real statement.
Yeah, well, Hare is a major trickster. It looks like a rabbit standing on a snake, and what that piece of it is,
does.
More to come probably.
And
on
that is very rabbit. Like that rabbit
Yeah,
is
that's
very
very clear.
distinctly rabbit.
It's a petroglyph. It looks like a rabbit standing on a snake.
And it kind of like it's a prominent thing in there. Like it almost looks like it's in charge somehow still.
Yes.
Even once I looked at it in the right angle.
That's
it
why
still
the
looks like it's
rabbit
kinda
is
in
really the
charge.
werewolf, and he's just fooling you. He's stalking you.
Yeah.
He's pretending to be prey, is what Steiger was
The
getting at.
wolf in rabbit's clothing.
Right. Yep. Back to that.
See, it told you it was a sheep, but it's really a rabbit. That's part of its trick.
I'm just saying we underestimate. It's why I brought Chuck Norris. I'm ahead of this. I know that
I'm going to bring sheep.
Do you remember when?
Oh, wait, that didn't make sense.
What was when Men in Black? Where Will Smith shoots the little girl holding the books.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
the same
yeah.
idea. It's like don't just overlook the rabbit. Is probably the nastiest one out
Yeah.
there. We just don't know the depths of the depravity of the common hare today.
Yeah, and it's so tricky we don't even think about it's being there.
Yeah.
That's a great trick on a trickster's part, is to make you forget they're even there.
I Chuck Norris you.
Because Chuck Norris never forgets.
That's right. It's true. Before we move on to this, the last thing we're going to do today is a Bugs Bunny trickster shaman thing, which I think is an important thesis that I want to share with the MLT community. Before we get there, I do want to talk a little bit about Watership Down, which you had to down me at the beginning with that.
See, we like to go in circles here.
Yeah, but first of all, I read this when I was 11, and it was nice to find out that was like I said, a trickster book. Like it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Did I become a trickster because I read this book?
Right.
Or was I bound to read this book at some point and become a trickster? I have no idea. But I don't know how long Richard Adams had to live in a rabbit warren to learn the oral tradition of these rabbits. But that's why Richard Adams is today's Mad Cujo's winner.
Oh, another Mad Cujo's.
Down, boy!
And congratulations to the author of Watership Down. I'm sure he was waiting for that award for ever.
Well, actually, it's Rabid Cujos. Can we make
Rabid Cujos.
Yeah. That's actually worse or better somehow. I don't know. Mad Rabbit Cujos. Sounds redundant, actually. Mad implies rabid.
The mad is the rabid part, I think. Yeah, because that's the whole thing with Cujo is he had rabies.
Yep.
That's the whole thing.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, I guess. But, the book's from the 70s or something, so too late.
Too late. So in Watership Down, Il-Arara is the mythical trickster rabbit. Adams equates him to the Robin Hood of rabbits, who, quote, Odysseus himself might have borrowed a trick or two from that rabbit hero, for he is very old and was never at a loss for a trick to deceive his enemies. In preparing for these episodes, I keep finding monster shamans, tricksters, even when I'm trying to get away from them. And you gave me this nice little story about rabbits. I read Watership Down totally innocently, and it's a story about the same stuff we've been talking about. I'm not kidding. I'm sorry. But he did teach all these rabbits how to think outside of the hutch a little bit.
An angle. I mean, we come up with theories on this all the time as to why that keeps happening, but maybe it's just that, the whole shamanic journey thing
permeates this
it's just
reality.
A good way to tell a story.
Well,
it's a great structure for an adventure story. You just follow that arc of what the shaman goes through in their path, and you just apply it to whatever story you're telling. You're going to come up with a good story, right?
It's a variation of the hero's journey. So we
hero's journey. There you go.
We have a lot of that stuff, but the themes, which we're going to get into, are very specific to trickster and shapeshifter. So it's more than just an adventure.
It's much more specific to the thing. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Black Rabbit of Inli myth, which is in the book. It's a personification of death, and means the moon Inli, by the way. So, in the trickster rabbit has to go to the Black Rabbit to kind of implore him to save his people because Il-Harar's, if he's finally cornered and his warren is being attacked by these outside forces. So what does the Black Rabbit eventually do? First of all, he gets back from the underworld. He's able, so he has this underworld journey to death, basically, and then eventually the Black Rabbit kind of agrees to grant this request. He puts these red-eyed knot rabbits all around the warren. That's what they are, red-eyed knot rabbits. He didn't call them red-eyed knot rabbits, but there's these dark red-eyed rabbits all around the warren. Scares off the occupying army. And none of those rabbits were ever heard from or seen again. Not the dark ones. What I think he meant is we never saw anybody from that.
I'm remembering that scene now that you're saying that. Yeah.
So does that make it?
Oh, wow. It's like he summoned some demon familiars or something.
So I got a question for you on that note. Is that a fission monster? Fission, like we talked about fusion and fission.
Yeah.
Is that a fission monster? No, that would be splitting hairs. It's my other prepared joke today, folks.
Oh, no. You prepared that?
Fission. It's splitting hairs.
Oh, I like your ad-libbing better.
Yeah, but come on, fission. You got to do the crickets. I prefer the crickets.
I'll do crickets, right?
And then
crickets.
Oh, wait, no, because you booed me. You can't do crickets and booming.
I'll edit out the boo, and then I'll put in the crickets.
Acceptable. All right. So
I didn't edit out the boo.
I don't like this. So then we also have Fiverr, and he is an Intuit, not an Inuit. Now, Inuit is an Inuit shaman. This is an Intuit.
He's
Fiverr.
an intuitive Inuit.
No, he's not. He's an Intuit rabbit shaman.
Okay.
Who just knows when things are about to go horribly wrong. He has the power of prophecy. He's actually the one who tells everybody to leave, that the warren is doomed. We have to go on this great adventure.
Oh, and he has the dreams about it.
Dreams about what's going on.
He's literally reading the signs.
Yeah.
Having dreams. Yep.
Yes. In the final battle, under the very shadow of Mount Doom, he doesn't go all berserker. He falls into this trance, this Tharn state, stupefied. He slips into altered states, brings back valuable information to his community. In the Tharn thing, it's like the Kushtaka thing, the confuse and confound. It's this other piece of it.
Wow, I'm going to have to read this again.
But the enemy troops actually find Fiverr during the final battle sequence, kind of passed out, and they think he's dead while he's having this altered state.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah, I remember he goes all kind of comatose.
Before he goes
logy.
into the altered state, tell me this is not a shaman. This is what happens. Suddenly a terrible sound broke from Fiverr, a sound at which every rabbit in the warren leaped with dreadful fear. That was Richard Adams making that joke. I didn't do that.
The leap day joke for us, yeah. Good job.
Leaped with dreadful fear. A sound that no rabbit had ever made, that no rabbit had the power to make. It was deep and utterly unnatural.
He's transforming.
Yeah. He slipped in this altered states. We're going to talk more about this with the Bridgewater Triangle, too, by the way, with the shamanic guttural sounds that are made.
Wow.
On the last page, we meet Thrier, Fiverr's kid, who has the same gift of prophecy. And that's the last couple of paragraphs of the book, which means it's an important component.
Right, the next
book.
generation there, the next shaman is coming up to protect the people.
Yeah. And like every other episode, they have this Il-Arara story of this mythic rabbit trickster, and that inspires them to think outside the box and become friends with birds and get bird as their yek, basically, to kind of, and they actually befriend mice and birds and do all these cool things as rabbits. Great book if you haven't read it. I hadn't read it in a long time, many decades,
like
more than I care.
Years. Yeah, Maz is old.
You bastard there. But I was saving this monster trickster complex Bugs Bunny thing, and this is the last thing we're going to do today. But I've had to flip a coin to see what I was going to do it today, and I lost, and then I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a trickster.
Nice.
So yeah, well, I couldn't resist.
You're so trickstery, you pull tricks on yourself.
Exactly. But I am working on a monster trickster complex. This is kind of a teaser for it. I'm not going to go over too much of the nuts and bolts, but I did send you, along with the 3 readings, you have this thing that I'm about to go over. And this is part of
that quiz thing at the end.
I asked him to study this. He said it when he got here.
I didn't even read it.
I played D&D at Bones, and I'm really late. And where's the tequila? That's how today went.
And how is that different from any other recording session?
Not at all. You only had like 12 breaks today before we started. So
I only took like 2 breaks
you did.
today. Before
Actually, it was pretty amazing.
We got a quick start once I was here. I was half an hour late to begin with, though, so I guess it kind of balances out.
It's all good. It is all good. But I always am trying to shovel this stuff into things I can understand. And for the whole shamanic thing I keep reading, I like to give examples, real life examples, and put it into buckets. The 5 buckets I came up with we're going to use rabbits today for if you just have a bunny, a natural bunny, a preternatural bunny, which is a little bit more of a bunny of power, more shamanic. Then you have a proto-preternatural bunny, like, Nanabozho would be, where you have the proto-shaman kind of thing. And he's actually a bunny, too. I use him as an example, but he's actually a bunny man. But I don't use it in this one. It's actually just another strange coinky-dink.
Okay.
And then there's the supernatural, which is more the totem and the yek piece of it.
Yeah.
And those are hard to actually decide where they're at because they're kind of the animal totem. It sounds like the proto-preternatural might be more powerful, but they need, even the proto-preternatural, even the proto-shaman needs his yek. So I put supernatural as the next more powerful. And then the final powerful, the supernatural, more the deities, the gods, the real spirit. Supernatural. So again, just really quickly, not to confuse you. Natural
supra.
Bunny, preternatural shaman bunny, proto-preternatural shaman bunny, supernatural, which is the bunny's totem animal, and then the supernatural, which is the bunny god kind of thing. Supernatural. Those are the buckets we tend to see things fall into.
Okay.
So I came up with
these buckets then?
Well, I tried to come up with some examples bunny-wise, and for natural, I came up with Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh.
He was an animated stuffed animal.
He's just a rabbit.
He's an animated stuffed animal, though.
But he's the Richard Dawkins of the 100-acre Scully Muggle Wood. I mean, he doesn't do anything.
You're
except
just saying
he's just a rabbit.
personality-wise.
He's just a rabbit.
I gotcha.
He's
just a rabbit being a rabbit.
He's a rabbit being a rabbit.
That's why his name is Rabbit.
Exactly. It's not even an interesting name.
He literally just is what he is. That's all that he is.
He's a Scully Muggle rabbit, basically. Preternatural is the more shamanic rabbit. Do you have one in mind? Because we just talked about a shamanic rabbit.
The guy in Watership Down.
Fiber.
Fiber.
Correct. So he's a yeoman shaman. Doesn't do anything amazing. Does some great stuff. He's just he's your basic shaman rabbit, I would say.
Yeah. Has a bit of a hard time.
I mean, he didn't do like a Gandalf where he's shooting off this fiery thing from his staff and the ring wraiths were all scattering. It wasn't that amazing, but he did a lot of great stuff in that book.
It was really more like watching him learn how to use his power.
Yeah,
in that book is what it really was.
But
because he was figuring it out as he went. He didn't really have anyone to teach him. He just started realizing he had this power, and he started trying to figure out how to use it.
But he shared the pertinent information with his community.
Correct.
And
he was very helpful.
It became the most important figure. Even though he's the smallest, he's the hobbit rabbit.
But he had knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Knowledge, right.
Real power comes from knowledge.
Yes. So we have the proto-preternatural rabbit. And we mentioned one today, Hare. I mean, if you're talking about religion, I mean, you can argue the Easter Bunny for Christianity or Brer Rabbit has maybe a place in this.
So this is like the original preternatural, that like
correct,
the granddaddy of the preternatural.
Correct. So like, if we're talking vampires, it would be, the Queen of the Damned and her husband there. It'd be the proto-vampire. This is the proto-shaman.
Right.
So I think for Watership Down, you're talking about Hare, this mythical rabbit who's the proto-rabbit trickster.
Right, the first one.
Yeah, and he makes the traditional journey to the underworld and talks to death, and he does all these things to trick, the gods and tricks all the rabbits, and he's kind of the main dude. I think he is the Prometheus-ian kind of rabbit
of
in this
the rabbit
lore.
God kind of thing, yeah. And
then supernaturally, you have any ideas for a supernatural rabbit?
Supernatural rabbit.
I struggled with this, and I actually had to look it up. This one I couldn't come up with anything, and I actually had to use the Joogle.
I'm trying to think supernatural rabbit.
Well, not super, it's like a yak, a totem.
Oh, you know what I just thought of is Donnie Darko. With the guy in the bunny suit that's kind of like the ghost that's following him around. And
yeah.
I don't know if I can give that movie away. I'm still not even really sure what it's about. I've watched it like 3 times. I mean, I kind of know what's going on, but it's one of those movies.
It's a good movie.
But there's definitely a shamanic, weird, spectre-y rabbit being going on.
He is a man standing with in a bunny suit.
It's a man in a bunny suit.
Because he died on Halloween.
But it's like he's now that way
now
forever.
He's the
because
spirit. Yeah,
his spirit still wears the bunny suit.
Right.
That's very skin
Walker-y
to me.
Wow. You Donnie Darko'd me. I like it.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
It's good.
But what did you come up with for the supernatural? I'm not sure mine really.
Well,
fit
I am
the
annoyed
case right
that there's like an '80s movie that I didn't think of, so it's kind of frustrating. But
pretty sure Donnie Darko was the '90s.
Like, was it '90? Yeah, it was directed by what's her name?
Oh, Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. Yeah. My supernatural bunny, I had to resort to the Joogle. I have to be honest.
No, that's what it's there for. Access to information is good.
I came up with a video. Why I didn't come up with it? It's a video game person, Mizuchi, Mizuchi, companion to the main character in the video game, Muramasa, the Demon Blade.
Ooh.
It's a mythical rabbit spirit who offers guidance and support to the main character in this game, and that's why I was lost.
So he's a yak.
He's a yak. That's what I was trying to get at.
It's a rabbit yak.
Because the Donnie Darko thing's interesting, but I don't know if
it's a video game rabbit yak, so it's a tech yak.
Very good. That is a tech yak. Another version of a tech yak. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, yak is also synonymous with totem. It's the one we go with. So when we make yak jokes, someday you'll understand them.
Basically synonymous with animal familiar, I think, is a way a lot of Americans will think about it.
Yeah, we should do familiar, totem, yak. Exactly. And then supernatural is the godlike being, the demi-god or the gods or the truly spirit beyond even totem.
Rabbit with the capital R, as you would say.
Very Plato of you, yes. What would you? Is there any that come to mind for that? I don't know if you're going to come up with one.
I know somebody. Some of those Eastern religions got to have a rabbit in there somewhere. They got the year of the rabbit on the Chinese calendar. I got to think that the Hindu. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff in there. It's got to be a rabbit, but I can't think of any specifically out of my
we
brain.
just did the Japan one with the rabbit of Inaba. Might be a good one, and kind of a founding rabbit of that. But I really thought I just was going to stick with rabbit ship down.
Where's the? I have some questions about where different rabbits fit into this.
Okay,
actually, like where does the Easter bunny?
Well, I said, like, I mentioned it only
because that could be supernatural. That's basically a god of fertility, the Easter bunny.
Yeah.
If you really trace it back and what it really means, that's like the god of fertility, right?
Well, I think I mentioned it, and again, we do jump around, and we do cut each other off, and this is why we never get...
And I never really actually listened to you is the problem.
No, that's wise. That's the smartest thing you've said today. But you're right. It could be the super. It could be the super. You're right. Actually, you're right. It could totally be the supernatural.
Yeah, because I see that more as a god pantheon kind of thing.
No, I think you're right. I stand corrected on that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of overlap. Just so you know, there's a lot of overlap. Not with natural and preternatural, because that's our us and our shamans. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of overlap with the proto-preternatural, the proto-shaman, the supernatural, the yek, and the supranatural, which is the god. They all seem to be doing the same kind of things. You come across them all the time as the Promethean messenger, the bridge between the sky gods and people. Now, shamans do that as well, but they're usually the first, but they're usually the ones who create the bridge. So they are the guardians of the bridge, you know. And if you get the wrong color, you get thrown into the gorge of eternal peril and stuff.
Some of them know how to use existing connections. Some of them know how to make new connections.
Yeah, they're the first one. Gotcha. They forged the road as the proto-preternatural. And the supernatural, they still couldn't do it without their yak, usually. They still can't do it without the familiar. Even the ones who seem like the Prometheans have that yak, usually, that they couldn't do without.
Right.
But you're right. Easter Bunny's supernatural.
So where does Bugs Bunny fall on that? Is he the proto-preternatural?
That's the whole thing.
He's kind of the first of his kind, right?
Well, this is actually your question. So since you're jumping ahead...
Oh, am I jumping ahead on you?
No, it's perfect. This is actually where we're at.
Oh, perfect.
You have to tell me where Bugs Bunny fits in this.
Oh.
And you have to defend your answer.
Okay.
I should have actually told you, not just sent you the thing. Should have said, where does Bug... we're going to get better at this.
Obviously, he's not natural because, you know.
No, he's not rabbit with a little R.
And I think he's beyond preternatural. I was just going to say, does he fit into the proto-preternatural? Because he's kind of the trickster demi-god type figure, isn't he?
I'm not going to argue.
Trickster.
So this is what I wrote. Here's my note. My note says there's no wrong answer here except the category you pick.
Nice.
Well, the last three really do overlap.
I pick them all.
Oh. Is this like the arcane powder thing?
It's like when Faust tells the Satan to get lost.
Yeah. Or the arcane powder thing. I like that one. But go ahead. But you have to pick, and I'm not going to... You have to defend your answer.
I'm putting Bugs into the trickster demigod, which would be the proto-preternatural, because he is the first of his kind, being that cartoon trickster rabbit, but he has that kind of transformative. He's kind of half person, half rabbit. He talks. He stands up. He's a person, but he's a rabbit at the same time. And he's definitely the trickster god because you can't catch him, and he will just mess with you endlessly as long as you try. Just ask Elmer.
Yeah. No, good.
Or Daffy.
I'm not going to argue with you. I think he definitely...
I like it when he takes it out on Daffy. I kind of feel bad for Elmer sometimes. Like he gets, the guy's just trying to eat.
I have a different answer.
Okay.
And this is my thesis. And you are absolutely not wrong.
Okay.
Except
I am?
No, I am going to go... this is why I Freudian slipped the Easter Bunny into a lower level because I'm like, the Easter Bunny. I think he is supernatural. He is a god among...
Bugs Bunny?
And this is my argument. And I know this is not what most people would pick, but that's why I had to like make
He's like
this fit.
full on god
He's
status.
a god, yeah, basically. So here's my thesis. First note to myself is anything Jeremy says is self-evident. So yes, what you said is correct.
Nice.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
And self-evident. So it was kind of a backhanded compliment. I have to explain.
It's the only kind I ever get.
Sometimes. But even though he's a bunny rabbit, he doesn't seem like anyone's yek to me. So I don't.
He cannot be yeked, no.
And you said that, so credit to you. He's also gender neutral, like our trans variant shamans, often appearing as a woman. He later aroused Dana Carvey in Wayne's World years later. I discovered this whole thesis by watching a Bugs Bunny episode. You know, when I'm not watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Or
I'm taking
X-Files,
or
or
X-Files.
Supernatural.
Yeah, or Grimm. I got into that later.
Or Grimm.
We're going to do some Grimm work later. But Bugs Bunny Gets the Boyd is an episode that it's a shamanic initiation. And this, again, is just to get them to the shaman level to kind of prove it. But there's a buzzard chasing him, which is a symbolic image of death. He ends up hiding underground, but when he pops his head up, there's a rib cage that was already there, but he thinks it's his. So he's down to the bone. It's actually an image.
I know that episode.
So he's plucking like his rib cage or whatever, and he thinks it's his own.
He puts
thinks
on
he's
the corpse
dead.
of another animal.
Yes. See, but it's actually the stripping down to the bone of that.
Oh, right, when they rend your flesh to remake you.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So then he actually comes out of this as the shamanic rebirth. And then is it a coincidence that 2 episodes later, I wish it was the next one, and I don't know why this happened, and it's probably lost to the fog of time, but 2 episodes later, he comes back as Super Rabbit, the Rabbit of Tomorrow, a superhero.
Ooh.
He finally reaches that kind of superhero, flying, saving the world, kind of Superman kind of.
Very Gandalf.
Yeah.
Very Gandalf.
Yes, yeah, or more importantly, Yukon Cornelius, when he falls in with the Bumble and returns his Yukon to gold. No,
right.
Jeremy's told me not to talk about that anymore.
I don't want to hear about that, man. It makes me think about the teeth.
He goes right to the dentist, and he's upset, But basically, he rose out of this whole thing, and I then saw Wabbit Who Came to Supper. And he starts singing.
It's pronounced Wabbit Who Came to Supper.
The Wabbit Who Came to Supper. And he sings Angel in Disguise to Elmer Fudd while he's like while he's in the shower. And I think that's just a tell. I'm an angel in disguise. He has superpowers. He bends Elmer Fudd's shotgun like a pretzel, defying laws of physics.
Very Matrixy. Yeah, Neo and the Matrix kind of stuff.
It gets more Matrixy because there's one that he actually steps out into this other dimension where he's actually the animator.
That's where he breaks space-time and goes up to the fourth dimension?
Duck amok. He actually defies all boundaries and becomes the animator.
He just entered the Tesseract, is what he did.
Yeah, he stepped into the bigger area, becomes the true trickster, and just breaks out the whole new door, as the Joker
He
says.
stepped into the zero space that is actually infinite.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, now we really have to do that side trail again.
Yeah, we have to now get Bugs Bunny into that Tesseract somehow. But there's also the shape-shifting episode, Transylvania 65000.
Oh, I love that movie.
He uses it is I don't know what the actual name of that episode is. Transylvania 65000 was Ed Begley Jr. or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever
Jeff
the name
Goldblum.
of that one. And Jeff Goldblum.
Gina Davis.
And Gina Davis. Very good.
Kramer.
Stop.
It's a great movie. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. Not a great movie, but it's very good. It's funny.
It was in 1980, whatever. It was great.
Yeah.
It's not great anymore, but then it was great.
It was fun. It was a fun movie. But in this Bugs Bunny episode, Kramer and Bugs Bunny are wrestling. No, you see what you do to me? No, but this is the one where the guy turns into he goes abracapocus and he messes up all the thing. And he turns the guy into like a half bat.
The
half
inept
man,
vampire.
Yes, the inept vampire. He not only does these spells that shapeshifts this other person, he at the end of that then flies away, like in shamanic journey fashion, to bring knowledge back to the Warren.
Yeah. So it's the
he's
shaman battling the
fiver.
vampire.
He's Il-Hara plus. Is the argument that I'm trying to make.
So
Really.
Bugs Bunny is the ultimate rabbit god.
He's the ultimate rabbit god.
I can agree with that thesis. I'm behind it all the way.
I have one more point to
Okay.
make, and this drives it home for me. This is actually when I thought, oh my gosh, I really need a day job. You remember Fricka Fracker Firecracker, Shush Boom Ba, Bugs Bunny, Rah, Rah, Rah. In that short phrase is a coincidence that there's a fire reference, Fire in the Head, that Cowan book, the boom of thunder and drums, and the word Ra, R-A-H, usually spelled like the same from Watership Down for the Chief
boy.
Rabbit. Hazel Ra.
Hazel Ra.
Exactly.
Like
Amun
Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra.
Amun-Ra. Yeah, it's very Egyptianist too.
Yeah.
But basically, it's 3 times, so he's thrice great. It's not just Ra.
Which it has Wiccan implications also, that whole Trinity thing.
He's a familiar. It's thrice. I think that he is supernatural. He's a Looney Tune demigod. I rest my case.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Court adjourned. Verdict has been handed down. Bugs Bunny is the ultimate rabbit god.
If you'd given me you only gave me 3 weeks to do this episode. If you gave me one more week, I would have had us building pyramids to Bugs Bunny's image. Human sacrifices, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
I'm getting a tattoo.
But there is a Ra for the whole Egyptian god thing too, and I'll have to come back with that. Maybe we could do like Egyptian Tune of the Dead thing.
He actually,
Point.
there's an episode where he's a djinn too, where he plays the genie.
Oh, I missed
There's a whole, I mean, you could go on forever about Bugs Bunny and different forms he takes and the different powers he wields. And yeah, so you're right, dude. He can take like any mythical form he wants if you really go through the whole thing.
There's more to come on. We are not done with this.
I like how you groaned the whole time behind me, right? That was very, very
when you
ambient.
I'm both excited that you come up with things that really add to the conversation, and both sad that I didn't come up with it myself. It's an ego thing. My ego shows sometimes,
Yeah.
because it's very large, and like when you come in the room, you actually have to like squeeze over to the couch because it's so big.
I have to like squeeze in the corner.
Maz's ego, man. I gotta just crawl around this shit.
That's why our titles here is I'm the producer and you're the talent.
Whoa, I don't know. You did above par.
I just make you look good. That's my job.
That is impossible.
That's why I'm a good producer.
Wow. There you go. Which is a seamless transition, by the way, this whole thing, to the Ahuguano file today.
Ahuguano theory of the week. Oh no, here it comes! Quick, to the batshit signal.
We're going to just wrap this up real quick. I don't have a lot on this, but Camazotz is our resident Aztec Batman. What if he vomited or shat out those 500 agave rabbits after drinking way too much tequila one night? That's literally a batshit theory.
Wow.
Same area.
Wow.
They're all Aztec.
Total exactly batshit theory.
I think.
And I've drank enough tequila to know what can come out of you the next day, so that kind of makes sense.
And if you read any trickster tales, it's always a lot about poop. So I'm just bringing it all home.
The rabbit gods of tequila were pooped out by the giant bat god Camazotz.
Yes.
Because he needed somebody to party with and make his booze.
Correct.
I can dig it. He must have eaten a bunch of agave and then made them.
Who is the yek?
Inside himself.
Who is the yek then? If you shat out a yek, I don't know.
What do you mean? Who's the yek? The rabbits would be the yeks, right?
Yes,
because he created them.
He created
out
them
of his own body.
But he's the bat, and they are. But he's a Batman, and they're just rabbits.
Right. We'll cover that more in the Bat Squatch episode coming up.
Oh, for sure. I also believe 500 rabbits who represent tequila gods must be a manifestation of the collective unconscious while collectively unconscious. So it's kind of an unconscious thing. It's like an exponential collective unconscious squared.
It's like Inception. They're a dream inside a dream inside a dream.
It's depth psychology.
Yeah. That feeds more into that whole hypercubist Tesseractian sort of setup.
So Richard Scully Muggles, by the way, the thing I was trying to get at, why your favorite cryptid?
Sir Richard Scully Muggles Skeptics Review.
You're full of crap, and that's the nicest thing that I can say.
Well, why your favorite cryptid of all time, which is actually
The jackalope.
deeply disturbing to me, is because we're now on this journey to monsters.
Yeah.
And why is the jackalope so prominent? Oh, because you think it's one of the ones we will actually find. Like, I don't want to judge right now.
It's one that I actively hunt for. It's because I live in their territory. I live.
Oh,
I live on Route 66 in northern Arizona. The jackalope is like a sign of it's like the symbol of northern Arizona on Route 66.
You have a bear as a totem. Do you think rabbit might be another totem?
It could well be.
So you have a connection to rabbits.
I got read a long time ago. I had the moose, the bear, and the possum.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those change over time, because that was a long time ago that I got that reading done, like teenager.
Moose, bear, and possum.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. I mean, the possum's like, yeah, well, okay, so cool, you got a possum.
I think when I moved from the northeast to the southwest, the moose called elk and switched me over to elk's protection because there's no moose out here, and I have some elk stories that I will share in the future when they pertain.
Nice.
But
back
the
to
bear's always with me, and the possum could have switched up for the rabbit. Who knows, man?
But if you have a bear and a possum, like the bear you're supposed to play dead for, but the possum you're playing dead for. So like, which one wins that?
Yeah, that's right.
But you're
it's
you're
a
like the
balance
werewolf
thing.
and the sheep. You can do both. You can be
right.
the bunny or you can be the werewolf, and you can rub your hands,
Tap my head and rub my belly at the same time.
I can't even say it.
Either way,
You
with
could do
whatever
it.
hand you want.
Just stop that. You're just
I can
showing
rub the head and tap the belly too. If
So
you want.
now I'm going to dispel the jackalope. Honestly, this is not news. It shouldn't be news to most people. There's a reason they think the jackalope is a real thing. The Shope papillomavirus is believed to be the disease behind the jackalope because it causes keratosis carcinomas to grow out of the face of the head of the rabbit. And if you see the pictures, they look like horns. They're coming down,
look
they're
like
coming
antlers.
out. They look like antlers. And I honestly think that's why they stayed in the bestiaries so long. We mentioned that earlier, that they stayed in bestiaries because people were seeing these little horned rabbits, and it's just a disease.
Well, there you go. So they really do exist. I told you they were real.
Well, you can't be excited about that.
They're not rabbits.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, you should be a little excited.
Like they're
about
not
that.
deer, but they're not rabbits.
But it's still debunked as a mythical creature with horn. I guess it does have horn. I mean, I don't know.
Is it though?
Let's just.
So you just told me there are rabbits with antler-looking protrusions coming out of their heads.
I was trying to deflate you, and you're like trying to
You're
take
just
it as a
building
win.
me up, man. I always win.
Whoa.
It's just a matter of turning
Two
a
words,
positive.
Wolfman Puck.
You can make anything into a positive if you have the right energy.
Oh. So this
is how we get from
diseased
hate to
rabbit
love.
that can't hold his head up and is limping along to its death.
This rabbit is hopping confidently down the road from hate to love, and it is bringing us right along with it, Moz.
Yeah, it sounds like a carcinoma to me.
You know what that's like? That's like the supposed baby sea serpent back in Gloucester from episode 2. It was a black snake with weird growths on it that they tried to say was a baby sea serpent and blew the whole case up.
Yeah. So
I'm referencing episode 2 there, Moz. That's pretty good.
You said Gloucester sea serpent, but everyone knows that Slinky.
Everyone knows it's Slinky.
Yeah.
Of course,
go with that.
Of course his name's Slinky. What else would he call him?
Exactly. Believability scale. They feel your methods. Your theories are
spooky. Do you think I'm spooky?
Wait, why am I Scully? I give Chuck Norris. I believe in Chuck Norris a 10. And Bugs Bunny, Proto Trickster Rabbit Demigod, 10 as well.
10 as well.
Yeah, Bo Derek, 10.
10.
Spinal Tap,
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ends mine.
Actually, you know what?
We're not even giving you.
I'm giving Bugs Bunny a Spinal Tap 11 on the believability scale because he is beyond belief. Bugs Bunny.
Well, thank you. You make me sad that I was so mean to you, minutes ago. But thank you. Appreciate that.
Did we ever say Scully Mulder believability scale? I'll stick the bumper in there somewhere. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Just put it at the beginning.
Yeah,
it's
back there already.
Yeah,
it's already there.
It's all good. But we have another bumper. Last one. Yeah. Wolfman Puck.
Wolfman Puck's Scripted Culinary Corner.
No entree, sir. Smells good.
I think I could do a lot with a rabbit as a basket ingredient.
Oh, geez, can we just eat rabbit? I
Nope.
actually like rabbit.
Nope.
No.
Because it's not monster enough. I went through this whole mythic thing, and I went through this whole monster grimoire thing. It's not enough monster rabbits, so I want to add a little dragon to the rabbit.
Ooh.
That's the basket ingredient. Now you go.
Oh, am I going first?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm totally putting you on the spot.
Okay.
I could go first because I did think of this at a time.
I'm going to prepare my rabbit in a slow cooker with some parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, which is a love potion, by the way.
And a Simon Garfunkel song.
Some potatoes, some wild onions, head of garlic,
The Chicago
and a
Land of Wild Onions.
little dragon fire sauce.
Wow.
And as that cooks, I'm gonna make some dragon chinchurrones, deep fried dragon skins,
That just stopped.
to go with it on the side.
You know, I want to tell people this. I did not give you this ahead of time. This is something I hit you with. You send me more of your stuff to me than I send to you. I keep you in the dark completely. And then you got to go and win Wolfman Puck like this.
And for the drink, I will be serving Fireball
Wow.
because it has the weird fire-breathing dragon demon thing on the side.
I'm not going because it's mean what you did there. But I'm just going to skip right to the drink.
Wait, you're not serving dinner? You're just going to eat mine because it was so good?
I just think you won.
Okay.
I'm not...
It was the deep-fried dragon skin chinchurrones, huh?
I think you won today.
That's fair. I don't think I've won one of these in a while.
Well, I just said isn't it great that I just said, oh yeah, I always beat you in Wolfman Puck, and then bam. And actually I don't, but.
There's that ego thing again.
Yeah.
You were talking about that a little bit ago.
Well, as soon as you get shot down when your ego shows a little bit, and that just happened today. So
you gotta get humbled once in a while.
learn.
It's good for you.
Yeah, we moved back from the supernatural back to the preternatural phase. That's the way I feel today. I feel like only a proto-shaman. But thanks for knocking me down a peg. I do appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Moss.
And this was, again, just a kind of it was a throw together, but it wasn't. It was a great, fun episode.
I'm really glad we did that.
Yep.
It's only once every 4 years you even get an opportunity to do a Leap Day special.
Yeah.
I feel kind of blessed that our first February as a podcast, we were able to do that. And yeah, that was a great thing we just covered that we may have never done otherwise. So good job, Moss. Good job. I'm glad you're willing to pick up the slack for me and do these holiday specials.
Well, you do a lot of the driving and the grunt work, and
Oh yeah,
happy to pass you Rapasato now and again.
I am very good at grunting, so it fits. It fits.
We just need 400 or 500 rabbits, and we'll be ready for the party or the barbecue.
Yeah, I want to go drink some tequila with the rabbit gods, man.
That's what we should.
I want to go to that party so bad now.
Can I do Wolfman Puck?
You want to do it? Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to go to a barbecue, and we're going to bring a rabbit and a dragon and 500 rabbits to Bone's house. I just won Wolfman Puck.
Wow, nice comeback. 500 rabbits for a barbecue at Bones, man.
I don't know why I didn't tie that back in. I'm kind of sad.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Too late, though. The trophy was already given out, so I still win. But I guess we can wrap it up here. Is there anything else to add or subvert before we go here, Moss?
I'm good.
Well, if you enjoyed it, please take a second to hit all those happy little fun buttons on whatever platform you're on. The like, subscribe, share with your friends, leave us a comment, a rating, a review, all that sort of stuff. Anytime you take to do that is much appreciated. Definitely helps out the podcast here on the overall. And this being a special, I believe this is coming out on Thursday, so we'll be back in just a few days on Tuesday with our normal weekly release. And don't forget, our Patreon is now as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/monsterlore if you want to get ahead of the public on not only the episodes themselves getting pre-released in the member section, but the side trails come out right along with the episode, so you can listen to them in conjunction instead of waiting for the compilations. I'm going to stop talking. Thank you once again, Moz. Yay!
No, I was just clapping you stopping talking.
Oh, boo!
Crickets. I said crickets. I want crickets.
Crickets. There's your crickets. Till Tuesday. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good one, listener.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast. North winds blow. West winds blow. Kill the rabbit.